Hello everyone, I am Renowned Zero, and we're back again talking about Pedro Pascal defending the Hollywood race and gender swap practices. The best way to continue representation is just casting a person into a role that isn't limiting a character to racial identity. Okay, so let's race swap Black Panther, make him a white person, and it's all good, right? Because we're not limiting the character to their racial identity. Oh wait, that would not be right according to you because you think it would be racist, right? Let's jump into this article here from Bounding in the comics. The Mandalorian and Last of Us actor Pedro Pascal recently defended Hollywood's race-swapping practice and even encouraged it in order to promote representation. Considering he's in a show where there are multiple race-swap characters, it's no surprise. Variety Senior Awards editor Clayton Davis asked, quote, "One thing that I love so much about you and Joel, the character, is that one of my big things I write about here is diversity in film, television. I want to see it. I'm a Latino black man in journalism. No one cares. Literally no one cares. Not very many of us are here. Again, no one cares. Quote, you are the goal that I want to see because when we talk about diversity, we all seem to be talking about different things. Yeah, mostly people like me are talking about diversity of thought, not diversity for diversity's sake. And when we talk about, and people like me talk about diversity with characters that aren't just considerably talking about their race and their racial problems that are reflected on real world politics. We don't care about any of that. We just want to be entertained. Davis continued, you're a Latino in a leading role, but Joel doesn't have to be Latino. Well, he should be, considering you're using source material and Joel is white. Joel could be anybody. No, he couldn't. It's a character that was already established as a white dude. Again, let's race swap Black Panther even though he's visually black. And that's where I get really excited. It's just like you're here, you're representing, you're doing some great things, and you can just be. So again, we're looking at people, we're looking at their race again, not the content of the character. So we're going backwards for civil rights. Okay. You don't have to be overly Latino. You could just be Pedro Pascal playing Joel. After discussing the Emmy race briefly, he finally asked, do you feel that wave coming that you can just be Pedro Pascal, an actor, versus Pedro Pascal, like the Latino guy that we have for Latino roles? And we love you on Narcos and everything like that, but do you feel that change right now? Again, literally the only thing you're seeing is race, not the fact that Pedro Pascal could possibly be a great actor. It's such a weird thing that these people focus so heavily on the person's race. Because that's the only way you can see yourself in a character is if they look like you, according to this person. Pascal answered, quote, I think that the change is really important, that the best way to continue representation is exactly as you put it, just in casting a person into a role that isn't limited to not limiting to a character to its racial identity. Because once again, Din Djarin, right, who's mostly acted by a black stuntman and another white stuntman, I'm sure, looks like you. But nobody cares that you're Latino because the characters played well in the show. He added, quote, especially if it's an IP that we're familiar with or a book, and people get so butthurt about this kind of stuff, but who cares? The people that visually see characters and they're concerned with the race swap for race swap's sake, considering something like the Eternals, that majority of the characters were gender swap or race swapped simply because they weren't well-known characters and nobody would care. Well, people care about characters like Iron Man being race swapped to a 16-year-old black girl named Riri Williams, as an example, because people know Iron Man as a white dude named Tony Stark. And this is why Hollywood continues to fail. Because now they're just open about doing this and not caring about the source material that they're using to make money. Because that is the coolest way of moving the needle. No, it isn't. The coolest way to move the needle is to make original characters and make them good. Write them well. Is being open about the casting in every way. I remember looking at a script and thinking, God, wouldn't it be so? And there was this real sort of scary parental figure, and it was written as a father in it. And then I thought, God, wouldn't it be interesting if it was a mother Like if it was Diane Weiss instead of, and sort of treating the approach with some originality, and let that originality be inclusive. So again, you're using source material, you're playing a character who has been visually seen as white, and you're a Latino playing that character. And you're basically admitting at this point that you don't care about the source material. Instead of being like these are the instructions, because they are when you're using something that's already established, similar to a Rings of Power, and that's why that show flopped. This is how we need to follow it. This is, let's label what representation is and follow those. No, I don't. I think that we need to continue discovering it and making sure that we understand that representation is in service of telling the story instead of fulfilling a political frustration, which is totally legit. It's a very interesting thing to navigate, and I think that deserves all the attention in the world, so that we do navigate it, and that the needle does move, and that things do kind of like change. Bunch of drivel. It appears Pascal has no limits to what he would race swap. It would include historical figures, as Netflix recently did in their Cleopatra series and Channel 5 did in their Anne Boleyn miniseries. Who knows how race swapping the characters served those stories about the historical figures, but Pascal would more than likely justify them by claiming it needs to be done to fulfill a political frustration. However, Pascal's comments also appear that he only supports race swapping or gender swapping in one way. His example is taking a male character and changing the gender to a female character and claiming that it's original because it's somehow inclusive. It isn't. There's nothing original about gender swapping a character. It's literally a bad Hollywood trope now, and it's constantly derided by moviegoers and TV viewing audiences. As for race swapping based on Pascal's language, I find it hard to believe that he would accept someone like Ryan Gosling to play the King T'Challa, aka Black Panther in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The real answer to this question is rather simple. Stick to the source material. It's not hard. If the source material describes a character in a certain way, casting directors should cast actors that look like the way those characters are described. It's similar to how people are up in arms about them race swapping Aragorn, who is clearly described as being pale skinned with gray eyes in the Lord of the Rings book. In most cases, the source material probably had no problem appealing to people of all walks of life and from all different backgrounds. All race swapping does is sow division, muddy the waters, and in many cases make the characters completely unrecognizable because they don't look anything like how they are described. Good example, Heimdall comes from Asgard. More than likely, those people are all white. They took Idris Elba, they race swapped Heimdall to Idris Elba, but no one cared about the race of Idris Elba because he played the role well. Yes, there are people out there that were concerned about it, the race swap, because it's literally tokenization, but for the most part, most people looked at the character and said, oh, he was played very well by Idris Elba because the race wasn't the first thing at the forefront of the character. It was just Idris Elba playing the character of Heimdall. And that's the difference. But anyway, that's all I have to say on this topic. Thank you all for checking out this video. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, returning viewers. On our way to monetization. Just gotta hit that 1K subscriber, hopefully by the end of the year. If you do like this video, hit that like button, comment below what you feel about all this, subscribe for more content, hit the bell for notifications, set the bell to all, then we get notifications anytime I post a new video, and I will see you all on the next one. Peace.